Danny, good to see you. Let's take you back to February when I think last time we met. Very different team, very different attitude amongst the players, and a little depressing. But Jamie came along, and you probably sat down with him and said, "This is what I'd like to do," and he probably sat down with you and said, "This is what he'd like to do." Meeting of minds.
Yeah, I think obviously, it was a very depressing season last season. I think I was probably one of the only coaches in the league that were kind of grateful that it did end. But that saying, I think we were also very, very close to picking up a couple of wins. I think the last game against Leicester in March was the first time we had the full squad together ever in that whole season. But yeah, Jamie came in. I had some ideas of how I wanted to take this team forward. He had some ideas, and we kind of sat down, and we weren't too far away where we wanted to be. So there wasn't really much meeting in the middle. We kind of were on the same page really from day one, I guess. And like you said, it's a different vibe, a different energy this time round.
And you've gone for a much younger team, and you've stayed with David and Jack and Zach, both very impressive in the first game.
Yeah, they learned so much in that little short space that they had with us last season. They kind of knew exactly what it was all about this time round, what they had to do. They've certainly been working hard in the off-season, even though it's been locked down. We gave all three of them some programmes to work on and what they need to be like, ready to come back here when the season did get going. And I think it was a good reward to bring those guys back. Far younger than it has been in years, and I think you can see from the Cheshire game the athleticism and the energy that these young guys brought is certainly paying off at the minute. But it's a long season, so hopefully we can keep going in that direction.
The search for the four Americans, that started probably March?
The search for the four Americans kind of started, it never stops if I'm honest with you, kind of like around October, November. We're always keeping an eye on who could be available. Could the guys that we already got, will they be available for the next season? As soon as lockdown came, me and Tom certainly upped it in terms of recruitment, and really went into overdrive to get these guys that we wanted.
And obviously COVID meant that you couldn't really bring them over to start off with, cut down your practice time, but you certainly seem to have gelled as a team.
Yeah, the guys have been here 3 weeks. The first 2 weeks, obviously, before we played that Cheshire game, it was very, very intense. We were training twice a day. We had so much to try and fit in. No games to play. Then the Americans couldn't play. But these guys get on really, really well. They've got great characters, great personalities. We've not kind of hit too much adversity yet, so it's going to be interesting to see how these guys deal with that. But I think they're mature enough to accept when things go wrong and how we put it right.
And who was more gutted at that Cheshire game, the four Americans or you, when you found they couldn't play?
I think we were all gutted. Even the guys that were playing, we were absolutely gutted. We worked so hard in the lead up to that game against Cheshire. All the plans and preparation that we had in place just went straight out the window on Saturday night. Everything that we were going to run, we didn't run once against Cheshire. So we've got the guys in this week, so hopefully we'll get to see Manchester Giants on another level to what we were in that first game.
You say you weren't running the plays, but some of the plays that were actually running that game were absolutely fantastic to watch.
Yeah, I gave them a bit of freedom. We had a few rules in place, and if we stuck to those rules within the system, I knew that there would be a lot of space in there for the guys to hit their shots when need be. I think the energy at the start of the game is kind of what got our tails up, and we just never dropped that energy really. And then, the Jack and Oaf combination that they've played together for years in that pick and roll is kind of what allowed us to unpick Cheshire's defence really.
Yes, the first few minutes I thought Zach was fantastic. His athleticism, the rebound he took at the offensive end, it shows why you brought him back. As you say, Jack and David have played together for so long that they know each other's plays backwards.
Absolutely, yeah. Jack, showed glimpses of what he could do last season. He's just turned 21, and there's a lot of years in Zach, and how far can we take him? And then obviously with Jack and Ulf as well, they're only 26, still quite young, but very quite mature. And it's going to be interesting to see where those two are in another couple of years.
And you've long wanted to be playing here. What's it like to be able to have a practice court that you can actually practice on, that you're going to be playing on, and a whole 12 people here practicing?
Oh, it's amazing. Some of the facilities that we were in last season, every single school in Salford, and now we actually get to practice where we're going to play. and actually call this our practice facility and our home court is just adds value to what we want to do, really.
One more win against Cheshire on Thursday, and we should be into the next round.
Hopefully, yeah. We're planning well. We've had some great practices, and I think as long as we come out with the same attitude and the same energy in the last game, there's no reason why we can't take this win again.